Good morning. It's Thursday morning, and we're reading Psalm 56. Be gracious to me, O God, for man tramples on me. All day long an attacker oppresses me. My enemies trample on me all day long, for many attack me proudly. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise, in God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? All day long they injure my cause. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They stir up strife. They lurk. They watch my steps as they have waited for my life. For their crime will they escape? In wrath cast down the peoples, O God. You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Then my enemies will turn back in the day when I call. This I know, that God is for me. In God, whose word I praise, in the Lord, whose word I praise, in God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can man do to me? I must perform my vows to you, O God. I will render thank offerings to you. For you have delivered my soul from death, yes, my feet from falling, that I may walk before the Lord in the light of life. That psalm sounds a little like a guy who's whistling in the dark. I trust you, God. I trust you. I trust you. I keep trusting you. Even though they're coming after me, I'm trusting you. Right until the end. And he says, I'm secure and I walk in the light of life. Now, we know that the light of life is Jesus. The light of life is God's manifestation of himself in the person of Jesus Christ. And that's where we find light, and that's where we find life. Now, the light is often used in the scripture for the presence of God. When Moses goes into God's presence on the top of the mountain, it's a bright light that he has to shield his face, and forever after that, his face glows from the exposure to this bright light. When Moses sees God at the burning bush, it's burning and there's light. God appears before the Hebrews in the wilderness as a light in the daytime, or a pillar of cloud in the daytime and fire at night. So it's light. So God's presence is always associated with a bright light. A couple times that it's not, but those are rare in the scripture. So God comes as light and brings life. And there's very little distinction in the Bible between light and life. If you get the light, then you're alive. If you don't have light, if your eyes grow dark, then you're dead. When the light goes out of your eyes, then you're dead. And that's not what anybody wants. And so here he says, I will trust in God, the light of life. So he will trust in God. And as again, we say, in the church, he's trusting in Jesus. He's trusting in God's presence. He's trusting in God made manifest to him. And that would be Jesus Christ. And so even though he's a long time before Jesus, he's trusting in that same presence of God that we trust in. He just doesn't know the name and the words and have this whole Trinitarian theology worked out, but that's okay. Now, David wrote this on a particular occasion, and if you read toward the end of 1 Samuel, the last chapter or two, you'll see that the Philistines captured him in a battle, and they realized this is David, and they say, don't they sing, Saul has killed his thousands, but David his 10,000s? If we keep this guy, he's going to ravage our army, and he will win, so we need to send him home. And they reject him. They won't keep him prisoner because he's He's too dangerous, they think, and the Hebrews, the Israelites, will rally and come to save him, and they don't want that. So David is protected by his reputation, and through that by the presence of God. And I hope that you will feel that protection in your life today in whatever necessary form it will take. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.